All right, so day 14, frequency, distribution, and histograms. You should remember histograms from Algebra 2. Did plenty of them. Okay, so a frequency distribution is a table that shows classes or intervals. In other words, that would be a range, okay, from 1 to 7, 8 to 15, something like that, okay, of data with a count of the number of entries in each class. So, the frequency, F, of a class is the number of data entries in the class. So if you look at this, we have, let's say this is the number of sit-ups you can do in a minute. No, it's push-ups. Okay? So push-ups in a minute. 5 people did somewhere between 1 and 5. 8 people did between 6 and 10. 6 people between 11 and 15, and so forth. Well, 4 people topped out between 26 and 30. Okay? So instead of doing a bar graph with, like, you know, you got 1, you got 3, you got 8, you got 5, you got 10, and just have all these little bars and big bars, you know, and this huge range, big long graph, we do this to make a histogram from it, so we put them in ranges, so we kind of group the close ones together. Okay? And you can tell we're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns in our histogram from this. Now, this data here on the bottom of your page, we're going to use this again. This is a table of the first 43 presidents, I can speak, up to George W. Bush, and their ages when they came into office. Anybody spot the oldest one? 61 maybe, Jackson? 68, who's that?
69.
69, Carter. 69 was Carter. No, Reagan, my bad, I can't read. 69 was Reagan. So Reagan was the oldest starting president, and our youngest was...
JFK.
Probably JFK. 43. Okay?
Actually, Roosevelt.
Roosevelt? 42, yeah. So Teddy Roosevelt is 42. Okay? We're going to be using this. All right. So here is a breakdown. What? Here's a breakdown of a frequency table. So there were 2 presidents from 40 to 44. There were 6 presidents from 45 to 49. You know, there's 12 between 55 and 59. Only 3 in their upper 60s, from 65 to 69. And what is the total? 43, which makes sense because there's 43 presidents on the table. All right? I'm not going to do it. Never mind. All right, so let's fill this in. So first off, here's how you do it. You determine the number of classes to use. You know, you want 5 columns, 6 columns, and so forth. It's supposed to be just number. Good call. This should just be number. Thank you. Because it already says up classes. Good pickup. So first you determine the number of classes to use. In other words, how many groupings you're going to have. You're going to have 5, 6 towers of numbers. You usually want to do somewhere between 5 and 20 for a good histogram. Okay? A smaller number is too little information. Over 20 is way too big. That's why we use histograms in the first place. You're going to calculate the class width. Now here's how you do it. It's very important. You take the maximum value minus the minimum value divided by the number of classes. So let's go back to our chart here. How many classes did we use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? So we wanted to have 6. Now, how do we know to do one, what ages to use? Well, we took the maximum value, which was, what did we say Reagan was?
69.
Thank you. 69 minus, was it 42? And divided by 6. So that's 27 divided by 6, which is what? What? 4.5, thank you. So we chose to use, if you look, 40 to 44. We could have done 40 to 45 if we wanted to, and we'd just have one less top. It's okay. But that's the way you break it down. Sometimes you have to do some guesswork, whether you want to go smaller or higher. Find the limits. Remember that classes cannot overlap. So you can't have someone's age be in both columns. Then tally the data into the appropriate class, and then count the tallies and calculate the frequency, which we did earlier for each class. Now, we're not going to do this. We're not going to take the heights of everybody in the class right now and get new data when we have good data to use. So we're just going to, on the next page, use the president's heights, if the board will advance. There we go. Okay. I didn't go too far. There we go. So, expanded frequency distributions. To create an expanded frequency distribution, we will add 3 columns to the original one. The midpoint, the relative frequency, and the cumulative frequency. And then how do you get the midpoint? You take the lower limit plus the upper limit and divide by 2, which is how we find the average of anything all the time in math. That's, like the median of a set of data. Okay. How do we determine the relative frequency? We do a portion or percentage of the data that falls in a particular class. So we take the frequency, however many there were, and divide it by the sample size. This will make more sense when we do this with the president's ages. To find the cumulative frequency, we're going to do the sum of the frequency for that class and all previous classes. So a frequency histogram, as opposed to, just a number, it's a bar graph that represents the frequency distribution. So our data goes on the bottom, and here's our frequency on the side. The horizontal, bottom axis, is the quantitative and measures data values. The vertical up and down, measures the frequency. And consecutive bars must touch. A histogram differs from a bar graph because the bars are touching and they're based on ranges, not singular values. Let's see if this will work this time. Very good, okay. Class boundaries, the numbers that separate classes without forming gaps between them. Okay, so that number, 44, 40, and so forth. Those are the numbers that have the gap. All right, so we're going to make a histogram right now based on the age of the president. Okay, so now the height, we're going to make one. So just go ahead and make a big old X and Y axis. And just go ahead and start spacing out. Remember, we had 40 to 44, so we're going to make our split at 45. So 40, and then 45, and just go across, kind of keep it as even as possible. And go up to 70. And then here, our highest number is 13, so maybe count by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14. You do it because, wow, 7, 8, 10, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. That's all I need. Now, this is going to be one of those things where I'm not going to measure it. You're just going to do your best. So, back to the frequency table, how many were there between 40 and 45? 2. So you're going to kind of go up here and go to 2 and put that there. And then 45, 50, how many were there? 6. So kind of go from that one, continue up, and kind of make sure it looks about 6. And then we have 13 and 12, right? So go up, do your best to go try between 12 and 14. And then at 12 right here. And then 7, kind of just go over about where 7 would be. And 3 about halfway between 4 and 2. Now what I like to do when I'm making these is put the numbers up here so someone doesn't have to go over and look. They can just see the frequency right there. That's very good in like on a project, Hinton. This is a very good thing to do to make it easy for your reader to know what's going on when if you're ever displaying this information like this. They don't have to go, okay, well, where does this one go? Oh, is it 14 or 13? You know, you can tell them it's supposed to be 13. Now, if you're doing this on a computer, obviously you're going to get a really nice, neat, orderly amount. But when you're freehanding, it's nice to put the number there. All right, so the relative frequency histogram has the same shape and the same horizontal scale as the corresponding frequency one. The vertical scale measures the relative frequencies, not the actual frequencies. So relative, if you go to the previous page, if you remember, relative frequency, we have the calculation here, is right here. The frequency divided by the number. So when we come over here, we're going to take all those numbers from the top of the columns and just do some percentages. So 2 divided by 43, 6 divided by 43, and so forth. At the same time, 2 divided by 43 is about 4.7%. 6 is about 14%. 13 is about 30.2%. 12 is 27.9%. 7 is 16.3%. And 3 is 7%. It's like 6.99. Now, we're going to do the same thing we just did, but instead of number on the side, we're going to put percentages. So we're going to make the same, start here at 40, count up by 5s, 45, try to make it even, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70. But on the side now, we're going to put percentages. Now, what's our lowest percentage? 4.5%. Our biggest one's 30.2. So I'm going to go by 3, just kind of give you some point of 3%, 6, 9, 12, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Close. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. You can use any numbers you want. I missed one in that. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27. I'm going to go a little higher here to get 30 in there. It happens. Now, 40 to 45 is 4.7%. So, here's 3%, 4.7, not quite, and again, we're just estimating. That's why I write 4.7% above this. Yes, that's a 7 now, too. And then the next one is 14%. So I'm going to continue up from this one and go kind of close to 15, but not quite. Put 14% above that. Next one goes all the way up to 30.2. So that's actually going to go up to my top and a little bit further. Next one is 27.9. So here's my 27s. I'm going to go kind of above that a little bit. And then 16.3, so you can find 15 and 18. Kind of go across and just do your best estimate. It's not going to be perfect. And last but not least, 7%. Here's 6, just a little bit above that. And that's that.